All right, welcome everyone. Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for ReZero, Season 3, Episode 14. Oh my god.
An amazing fight.
A gorgeous fight.
An incredible fight.
A wild man tiger just unleashed.
A real test of manhood.
Yes,
and
indeed.
Garth, you did great. You did fantastic. You were incredible. But now, maybe we are in for a fight with an old man and his late wife.
Yeah. It really does feel like the last few fights have been about like what does it mean to be like an adult or like a man specifically.
Yeah.
And now we're seeing men at different stages. Basically, what are they willing to sacrifice? What are they willing to put on the line here? And so now seeing the oldest man in the story right now have his shame effectively laid out in front of him.
Well, and given that there was some personality of, our Giga Chad that Garth fought, right? What is it going to be for his wife?
For Theresia,
and the fact that this is her, but of course she wasn't allowed to grow old with him, right? So this is her from back then, and what might he have learned since then, Right. Yeah.
I love the, I can't bear to face you, but also, I must kind of vibe coming from Wilhelm, because it feels like this arc has been about the Astrea family as well, just being pushed into the forefront here.
Yeah.
So I'd love to see what comes out of this here, because she went and did everything that she was supposed to do in her life. It's just, you could have gone with her, man. You could have. Maybe you would have. Yeah, you can never know. So let's just see how this plays out. I would love to see her respond to him, though. Yes. Even though she seems very inert.
Yeah,
in the face.
Even though the other dude was able to acknowledge Garth and be like, well done, that's still, he was still, killing people and all that stuff, right? So, yeah.
Trying to, yeah.
Right.
But yeah, all right, y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. This is backstory time.
Yeah. Gorgeous.
That question. Okay. More of a fencing style, kind of adjusting to the side. Damn.
Okay. Okay.
Oh my god. Yep. Oh.
Yeah, this must be interesting for you to see.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh shit.
No!
Oh, uh-oh. Oh, God! Oh!
Oh, the desperate flail to keep her away from him as he fell. Oh my god. Yeah. Oh shit. Oh no.
Oh,
he's dead.
I did not expect this.
I did not either.
I like it.
Don't draw your sword, just run.
Immediately, yeah.
I mean, he's just off his booze and everything.
Uh-huh, oh yeah. I love it.
Look at me, oh my god.
Alright.
Here he is.
It's a full family reunion.
Here he is, we're getting all four here. It's a good day. It's a good day. Look at him. Yeah, what the hell?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. Damn, them some paladin words.
Right.
Is it to be drawn?
Shit.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
And the very world
reality
trembles.
breaks.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that was it resisting a little bit. Like a tiny little bit. Like, it was like, yes, but okay. Like,
Yeah.
oh. Oh, no, it's okay. He knows. Yeah.
I was wondering if they were going to bring that up too, because
oh my god. And it's over. Whoa. How does it come to somebody though? Like, what is that?
yeah, what does that mean? How do you discover it?
Oh.
Okay, it's very, all right.
Oh,
Interesting
right, the
how-
family, right.
Yeah.
Is it like her hand is
Yeah.
being guided by like a god?
Right, she almost wasn't aware that she was fighting. Yeah.
Wow. Oh, this is the family heirloom, like,
Yeah.
right now. Like, we're not training you. We're just like, and you just stole that from him without
Yeah.
even any choice of your own. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, no. Yeah. And now with all the murder and, yeah.
2 years later.
Oh, not even
Okay.
remotely just war. I just killed all the non-humans.
Right. I wonder if she's, like, fully conscious even when she's killing, you know?
No, I think she's aware. It's just, oh, he won't make it the year.
Yeah, right. Oh, gotcha. She was too scared to fight.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. Oh my god.
gotcha.
And died. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Cool. Okay, yeah. And so now that's something
my
you just
God.
bear by yourself.
Oh, and all
Oh.
her brothers.
Oh.
Those words.
Uh-huh.
Ah.
Yeah, no flowers here.
Wow. What a transition. Back to this time, yeah. Oh. Yeah.
Okay.
Ah. Yeah, yeah. This isn't an I don't hate them situation. This
Yeah,
is
yeah.
Nice.
Nice.
Whoa.
Okay.
Whoa. There's a little baby Reinhard. Uh-huh. Thanks to you. Wow. Yeah. That was his love, yeah. Whoa. Whoa.
Okay.
Silence.
She looks great for 50.
That's that divine protection for you.
Yeah, yeah.
Divine skincare, am I right?
その答えは次に戻ってきたらあの日
Yeah.
聞
Yeah.
かせてください
She had to wound you. Those very words. Oh, hey, my favorite friend from season 1.
Yeah.
Wait.
Oh, and that's the moment that Reinhardt inherited it. Damn.
But did it, like, leave her in that brief moment and, like, go to Reinhardt?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Reinhardt has it now.
随分と勇ましいのですね
Oh, it's her.
縛られなくてもいいの
As she abandoned the sword. Wow.
権威以外にも
Okay.
出会いがある人生を私のように
Right, and whatever her ability is, she can't die. Yeah.
Just like that.
Oh, so is she the one that does the necromancy stuff in general? And it's not
Maybe.
actually lust? Whoa. Okay, okay,
All right.
okay. It's
Yeah.
her, yeah.
All right. You've put this off for far too long.
Fucking idiot. Wait till now.
始めたで自分の考えもうまく伝えられずお前にも苦労を
Yeah, but you're gonna bear that weight.
バカな人本当に気づいてなかったのあなたはずっと言ってくれていたわ
Just taking that curse off of him, saying like, you
Right.
you don't need to hold that shame anymore.
Right. I heard you.
Yeah, I heard you.
Yeah.
Oh.
あなたは私を愛してる
There you
Nice.
go. But still say it.
Yeah, yeah, I
Even
was gonna
still.
say. All
Even
right.
Still.
Take away the guilt of the past, but like but still, dude, you know. Okay.
Damn. Reinhardt killed her a second time.
Damn. Wow.
恵まれた人生だったわあなたたちなら大丈夫って信じてるから
Ugh.
ずっとずっと愛しているから
Maybe some family therapy, you know.
実は一目惚れだったんです
Yeah.
なんて知った
I love you at first sight. I fell in love with you. Nice.
Nice.
Bring that back.
驚いてくれましたか
Cool.
Okay.
Oh. Backstory in a fight that's over in like 10 seconds.
Yeah, I love it. It's like, oh shit, it's dicey. It's real dicey. And then Reinhardt's there and it's done.
Oh, we got a big end credit scene.
Oh shit. Okay, that did feel like a short episode.
Uh-huh.
満足か満足とは先代を知らせて加護を奪ったって噂も疑いようのない事実ってわけだなあ満足かすかした顔してるんじゃねえぞクソガキが気取るんじゃねえぞお前がおふくろをテレシア版アストレアをぶった切ったってのは事実だ公表するぞ世間に言いふらして誰もお前を牽制だなんて認めないように笑わせるなこの人殺しが
It's so sad and pathetic,
Yeah.
but
おっしゃられても意味
doesn't even call him father. Just,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Yeah. I like this though.
は秘術によって動かされていただけの屍です最後のあれはなんだ俺はお前を恨めしそうに睨んで
She wasn't.
おふくろで母上でないもうやめろハインケル
Shut up, son.
Yeah.
やめろハインケルやめろ
Oh yeah. Take the ashes home. We can finally give her a proper burial.
トボテレシアを切ったことを後悔しているかいいえ僕は正しいことをした
Yeah.
お前は正しい私が
Nice. I like it.
だからお前と話すことはもう何もないこの戦い
Yeah, go
Right.
go
he
be
still has
who you're meant to be.
Yeah, he still has to process a bunch of feelings, but he doesn't hold it against you.
林田一人でなんて私の心配
Oh,
お前は自分の安全だけ考えていればいい
this fucker actually does somewhat care about his dad, you know?
Yeah.
なんだよなんだなんだくそなんなんだよ
I mean, he's dealing with his own grief and he doesn't know how to process it, clearly.
どいつもこいつも死んじまえ死んじまえ
Well, I think he might be bitter.
Yeah, I think so. All right, everyone. Thank you for watching our full-length reaction to ReZero Season 3, Episode 14.
If you would like to see the discussion portion for this episode, go check out the link in the description.
And we'll see you there. All right.
Okay.
The Von Astrea family, Theresia, Wilhelm, everybody. Yep. We had a nice little family reunion here. Everything that had been built up this arc between Heinkel, Reinhard, Wilhelm came to a head here.
Yeah.
I love having such a simple, like, self-contained episode to finish and resolve this. There was a lot of things that had been kind of spoken in separate pieces, but getting to see it all come together was rather nice. In a lot of ways, it felt like a form of recap with emotional attachment kind of added into it.
Right.
Because we get to see all of Theresia's perspective throughout the process.
And I really like that this wasn't focused on the actual, like, fight itself.
Right.
Because that's one of those ones where it's
a foregone conclusion.
You're right, exactly. It's like, all right, we'll get to see what the show decides to have happen.
Would
exactly.
Wilhelm die or not, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
And
right.
we knew that there was a likelihood that he could, but if the story wanted to use him more, it would be much more impactful to have him live with the emotion of his decisions and lack thereof. And so the idea that he doesn't even get to be the one to strike the final blow here
that
feels
was
very
fantastic.
apropos, because again, it's another example of where his sword was to protect her so that she wouldn't need to use a sword.
Right.
Reinhard's sword was the one that would take her mantle, her pain, her burden off. And then, thus, this was a, abomination. This was something else.
Yeah.
And he ended her.
Right. I gotta say though, my favorite decision from this episode was to have Heinkel show up.
I agree. Yeah.
That was incredible.
That made it so much more powerful.
And especially before Reinhard showed up, right?
Yes.
Where it's because Wilhelm had the ability to mentally and emotionally prepare, right? Where it's oh shit, I know who this is.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's ready. He's resolute.
He
knows how she fights. He's ready to risk it all.
Yep.
He's here to just say a few words and then it's done. He's going to end her.
Exactly. But then, hey, Heinkel shows up. And that totally throws off the fight.
Completely throws everything off.
It has immediate consequence of, boom, stab through the leg. All right. And he manages to survive, right? But, like, that was... in worlds with superpowers and all of that stuff, right? It's very difficult to have fights with swords really feel impactful because, it'll go on for a long time. They can shrug off lethal wounds and all that stuff or whatever, right? But this one, no. All of the fighting was like to the point and quick, and I really appreciated that. And the just, your son shows up and you're just like, oh, fuck, right?
My favorite part about him showing up was that he hesitates on what would have been a lethal blow. Now, obviously, she's a corpse, so she might have been able to do something with that, but I doubt that. I think she was actually fully reanimated with the potential to be killed through, like, stabbing the lethal...
all the moving working parts of a human body.
Exactly, right. So, it gets shallow, she dodges to the side, goes and reverses the grip to quickly, like, stab and immobilize him. But again, not a lethal blow. So another example of the way in which she could have killed him there, but did not.
Sure.
Because she also wants to hear him say the words. She's getting the chance to say that, to go through this again. Yeah. But in his desperation, he thinks he's about to die. We see him as he falls over, like, swipe just instinctively in her direction to be like, fuck,
Get
I'm
away.
dead.
Yeah.
I'm dead.
Right.
If I don't do this, I'm dead. There was no swing. Like, there was no follow through. She could have gone for that, and that was him basically going.
Okay, I like it. No, that's cool.
And then when he's actually falling on the ground and Heinkel's there, she turns toward him, almost like, oh no, but now I have a general, like, compelled will to just murder
I've
and
neutralized
kill.
this threat. I can deal with him later, but
but
there's
maybe,
someone moving over
but maybe
there.
all of her focus and fixation was just on Wilhelm, so even him being there was a surprise to pull her out of it.
Sure.
Because it doesn't make sense that she wouldn't have just killed Wilhelm right there unless that was some part of Theresia actually, like, making a decision there.
And this is one of those things where, like, I think there's certain narrative conventions that really help in this kind of setup. Because certain things might be the most efficient from a how you kill someone perspective,
Sure.
but that doesn't necessarily mean that they make for like
Compelling
impactful
narrative.
right? You know, when she's going towards Heinkel, right, and he doesn't have the weapon, she could just as easily just stab through the throat, right? But she does the dramatic, like, raise of the sword that then lets Reinhardt, come in right at the dramatic moment.
Sure.
But the thing is, and you'll have that plenty of times in fiction in general, right? Just to help underline the points that you want the audience to be in tune with, right? But here, because of the fact that you're dealing with someone who is, being moved against their will, then there's all of this other potential stuff that we can have as reasons for that, right?
Yeah, you can slightly infer into those.
Yeah, exactly.
decisions,
Even the, raising the sword could be the, there's that part of me that is hesitating, even though I am compelled to do this, but I don't want to.
Right. Heinkel being brought in basically allowed all those kinds of things to be extracted from the visual storytelling, even though it's not explicitly stated.
Exactly. And all the while we get Wilhelm, begging and stuff.
Look at me.
Right. And then also just this different side of Heinkel where, because like he was set up to be like that, grade A asshole drunk dad shows up,
He's lost his mother.
Yeah.
He's broken off ties with his family. He's doing this primarily for the political gain of basically manipulating or subverting Reinhardt.
Right.
To the Reinhardt's power and what have you.
To the point of taking a child hostage, right?
Right.
So he's pretty unlikable asshole, right?
Yeah.
But then we have him, brought in here as the, and if there were to be something, because it would have to be extreme, right?
Right.
In order to get that deeper layer that he's so buried brought to the surface, it would be something like this.
It'd have to be laid so low.
Yeah, he would have to be truly brought low, right?
Yeah.
And so that whole scene just ends up just working so well. But the show doesn't do the cop-out of being like, and now everything's happily resolved. No, he still spent a lifetime in, like, wallowing in bitterness and stuff. That's not going to change. And so we get the scene after the credits, right? Where it's just like, this dude's just a dick now, right? Like,
he's alone. He's alone by his own making here. He does not have any way to resolve the emotions of the way he lost his mother. But his mother had lived a pretty darn full life by the time she passed away. Now, it would be very hard probably to raise a young boy by yourself.
Sure.
But I think what's probably like also not being like explicitly like stated here and stuff is that if Wilhelm had gone with her, she might have had the protection at the very least to be able to get away during the whole thing there. So he probably also resents a little bit his mother for putting the wound on Wilhelm so that he wouldn't come.
Yeah.
And thus he has some unresolved stuff with just the way that whole white whale thing was handled. But if you remember, the one who suggested she go to there was Heinkel. So he also has his own shame that's eating him up inside about him being also the reason why she died. And so I love that he can only project. He can't resolve his own internal stuff.
Right. And so then when he's like, oh, you should all just die, it's like, okay, he's literally talking about them, but who are you really thinking about?
Again, it's projection. So he's like, why am I still alive to feel all this?
And I'll bet that one of the reasons that and this is going like multiple steps out on the tree branch.
Yeah, we'll come back after this. Yeah,
but that when he was like giving her the idea to like go, right, that there was a part of it that was also because he was upset that he did not inherit the blessing.
Maybe.
Right?
Maybe
and so it's but you have it, therefore you have a duty to do all of this stuff, right? As opposed to just, because I would have loved to go do that because this is a thing that needs to be done, all of that stuff.
Yes, he definitely had an era of being snubbed for the blessing in the same way that her older brother was skipped over. But I want to bring up now the backstory here. The backstory being one where we see that in a lot of ways, what made the Sword Saint so terrifyingly powerful, and this is something that we've kind of never fully understood was basically the pure and total just coincidence of this, and it being something that when utilized, this divine protection, it is actually something that in its unmastered state or what have you almost does just arrest a person. Like
Right.
they have no grip to fully like master and use it. It's something that shocked and surprised her when she just easily defeated. It's almost like there's some other entity or being that's the one wielding the sword.
Well, and there's little like theory / like I think the show almost might even be doing commentary on the concept of like inherited destiny talent kind of deal.
Yeah.
Is that if you think about what the practice of developing a skill is, right? Especially like a martial art, it is getting control over your own body and things like this, right?
Yeah.
And so and it's a long process.
Yeah.
And so if you were to have someone that just in an instant had all of that, right? Like when you're really good at something, you don't think about what you're doing.
No.
You just move. And so if all of a sudden you went from, I don't really know how to use a sword to,
I know
how
to master a sword.
I just picked up the sword, and sort of the next thing I know, my brother is disarmed and on the ground.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that would be terrifying.
Right.
Like, and then the idea that then you have to go do that at 14, and this is going to involve killing a bunch of people. Yeah, hell no.
No way.
No,
thank
fuck
you.
no. Like, are you kidding? Like,
This is the Avatar must destroy the Fire Lord, you know?
yeah,
like,
yeah, exactly,
like
right?
kind of
Like,
stuff
like,
here.
like, no one wants that.
No one
like,
wants
the
that.
idea of being able to.
If you want that, there's a problem.
Right. Like, being able to suddenly be really good at something and not have to put in all the hard work. Sure. Yeah.
Magic.
Right. Magic. But
Yeah.
but then when you think that next step past it, it's like, yeah, no. And so Reinhard being that little bit like off,
Yeah.
like that in my mind is showing the like, it almost feels like the equivalent of like a child actor that made it okay, like where it's like
Sure.
they had to deal with a whole lot of stuff that they really shouldn't have had to.
Right.
And it just looks like quirks and a weird personality now.
Yeah.
But that's actually them
Coping
and rising to the occasion
right.
quite well.
I would describe it as basically that if Reinhardt is the equivalent of the lawful paladin that basically has consigned himself to a code, the code is what's keeping him sane. Like the code
Sure.
is what's actually
Right.
like
Yeah.
making sure that he's like, this power will not corrupt me. I am going to be the
Yep.
most virtuous, sincere person.
Right,
Because
with my
I
infuriatingly,
Right. And I will make my era of being the Sword Saint about restraint. I will not
Yeah.
I will not exercise my will of this great power, even though it extends beyond the sword. The sword is just the most powerful magic item that the Von Astrea family just passes along.
Right.
It's not the Sword Saint.
Yeah,
It doesn't
just
have
makes
the
sense
power.
for the Sword Saint to have this because it's that badass.
Well, right, but also there's probably some history with all the Sword Saints using it, meaning that the Sword Saint won't be drawn the sword won't let itself be drawn, most likely, King
Right.
Arthur style.
Yeah, some osmosis style,
Right, some
mojo
relationship
from
built up over the course of years and
from
years.
the Sword Saint blessing stuff.
Right,
yeah.
right. So the idea that we've seen Reinhardt so many times end fights with just a, just shows this is the kind of person that understands the weight of this burden and won't take it frivolously.
Right.
Even though his grandmother ended up multiple times in battle being put into a situation where she would not engage and led to many, many people dying.
Right. Yeah.
It's, yeah.
In some ways, that feels like there's a bit of a parallel there, right? With her not desiring to fight, and Wilhelm being like, all right, I'll cover for you so you don't have to.
Right.
And then Wilhelm not being able to, to say I love you.
Yes.
Right. But then also her covering for him with that, where it's the,
Right. Hey, you know what this all ties it really nicely into? Is Subaru's decision to rely on others rather than return by death.
Oh,
This
sure.
ties in really
I like
nicely
it.
into the bonds that people need to rely on each other rather than just on their extremely overpowered ability that gives them the means to
Right.
do all this by themselves.
Or, entirely basing their identity on their lack of that ability.
Sure.
Sure. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. But wow, getting the emotion of, no, you were saying it all along, which I feel like that's about as cheesy as it gets.
Yep.
But you know what? I was surprised that it didn't get said while she was alive.
That's true.
And so I think in some ways she regrets not having told him that, maybe.
Yeah, and right.
And thus her telling him this was the, hey, I'm sorry.
Yeah, because she was...
know. I did hold this maybe a little bit, maybe of a teasing way, like,
Well, and
yeah,
and
you've never actually said the words, Astrea,
I still want to hear you
And I
say
do
it.
want to-
So I don't want to give you like the you don't need to say it because you're already saying I want to hear you say it.
Totally. There's definitely an unhealthy aspect if you, for whatever reason, can't say these words when you are like actively like
when your
fucking
partner's
her and
and more importantly than that.
I'm sorry, I'm being trying to be funny, but
because any couple could have any way that they do things or whatever, but when your
Yes.
partner specifically is like, this is something that I really like, and it's like you already know, yeah, but I need to hear it, you know?
right, and
like,
it might be the kind of issue where he doesn't want it to feel like it's her forcing him to say it, so that
Sure.
it has to come from something deep. But yeah, that is an actual issue. If their relationship was like not tarnished, but like was tinged with that all throughout the decades of being together. Yeah, that left a lot of unresolved emotion. That probably was something that compounded on itself to the point where it made Wilhelm even less likely to say it over time because the shame perpetuated itself because he hadn't said it.
And put another way, their lack of communication and ability to work together is actually shown by the fact that she had to wound him in order to keep him from going.
Yeah.
Because if they had a properly balanced relationship, then they have a talk about it, and then they both come to an agreement together of what they're going to do,
Again,
rather than I'm going to make the decision for you, and then it doesn't go well.
Yeah, it definitely seems like one of those. We are a celebrity couple.
Yes.
And thus, we can't have the image of the Sword Saint tarnished in a lot of ways. But I could have seen them absolutely having had some kind of, sundering of their relationship over the course of those years, just because of the nature of some of their issues.
Yeah.
But part of that also does seem to be that, in a lot of ways, the unbalanced side of this was that she fell in love with him immediately. And maybe the foundation of their relationship was rushed a little bit. But in that torrid, tepid, fast, wild, initial romance of the, I'll give you a reason to have a sword here.
Yeah.
I'll take that burden off of you by doing this really clever, underhanded thing to then set up the way by which the Sword Saint then doesn't have to then go and be the vanguard fighting. I'll fight your wars for you. I'll be your shield and your sword if you'll have me. She accepts him. They basically, have, yes. I'm sorry, that was unintentional actually. But just they have an agreement by which his sacrifice shows his love and dedication to her.
Yep.
And that carried them through all the issues that would come over the next 20 years.
Right.
But it was still one act at the very beginning. And even though there was probably plenty between that, they had a kid. They had grandkids. They had grandkids. They had all kinds of stuff there. But yes, the closure that Wilhelm and Theresia got at the end here was just really powerful.
Yes, 100%. And I think that adds even more impact to her saying that you were telling me all those times, right? Because it's that bit of like concrete acknowledgement of the need with the almost fairy tale levels of cheese, you know,
Yes.
with the, you were telling me all this time, you know,
Right. I'm sorry for basically holding this over you all along, but I will initiate with you and make it easier for you so that you get to say it with me.
And in some ways, them saying it at the same time is
Yes.
kind of showing that, okay, now, even if it took a long time to get here,
Right.
they're now actually in sync, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And thus the beauty of him being like, shut up.
Yeah.
And he's just
Just gathering the ashes into the cloak.
putting it on the cloak.
Yeah.
Loved
Yep.
it. Loved it. But yeah, that's the episode. Reinhard, as always, just his stocks keep going up.
Right.
The way he casually avoided the slap, like he's a fucking god, just like, no, Dad.
Yeah.
Like
and not even engaging.
not even
you know?
acknowledging him as a father again.
Right,
just
right.
like vice captain.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna go do what I need to do.
The fact that Reinhard turned out this good with a dad like that, goddamn.
like what I almost like wonder was that the father could never harm the son.
Sure.
There was a point where he probably resented Reinhard, and Reinhard saw him try to hit him for the first time.
Sure.
And he just dodged it. And he's like,
Yeah.
"What are you doing, Dad?"
Right.
And then he started drinking immediately after that.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just I am a fucking idiot.
And I would not be surprised if Reinhardt's composure is a form of rebellion against his dad being shitty.
Yes,
you know?
I
Where it's
totally
the-
see that.
Where it's the like, oh,
I
you
won't
are
get dragged
such a
down.
mess and a disaster. You are a fantastic example of what not to be, and now and that gives me the resolve to do the exact opposite with like
totally.
you know.
But I almost think that you could even lean into this with that if he's granted all these protections and stuff, the actual mental desire to fall down into that space with his dad because it is his father.
He is protected from that
He's
as well.
actually somewhat resistant to that. Like
I
obviously,
like it.
I think that's a bit of an extrapolation. But if Reinhardt's mastery of it was basically to the point that he could just call upon the powers that he needs in the moment, I could see him having a night of weakness or a day of weakness and just being like, no, I need and that
well,
that
so
was that was enough.
I'm a like take that a step further.
Oh,
One
geez,
could even
okay.
say that that's what Theresia was doing. Of the this violence is not something that would be good for me or should be done. Like and so I just dodge it. Like that whole war, right? And all the barbarism of that, I just sidestep.
Right, which then is the part where Reinhardt figured it out, was that you still have to pick up the sword.
Right.
Like, we're not giving this to anybody else. Wilhelm ended up becoming the sword, but he didn't ever use that sword.
Right.
That's yours. While you may still just hold it, and then you walking into an alleyway filled with 3 idiots holding that sword makes them immediately go, fuck!
Yeah.
Oh, shit!
Right.
No, run! You know? You don't need to actually use it. That's the point, is that you can actually just use that
Just
maybe
exist.
ornamental status, but you can use that presence, you can use that face, that smile to disarm.
Yeah. No one
Anybody
would
here.
surrender to the Dread Pirate Y'all. Yeah.
Right, exactly. But yeah, great episode. Really excited to see Reinhardt just bounce the next person, just start kicking ass. So y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You get on early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general. Also, be sure to check out our Twitch channel. So if you have anything that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.